Happy Friday morning, Mountain Movers. My name is Mike Hatfield with HSM Edifice Construction Services, and we provide virtual construction services, estimating, takeoff. We provide project engineering for your projects, as well as BIM modeling, BIM visualization, and virtual services. So a few weeks ago, I got to meet Kevin for the first time, but I had heard of Kevin through Chase Wood with Elite Construction. And Chase, I don't know if you'll remember or not, but he was on a few months ago completing his triathlon down in Houston. Big fan of Chase, by the way. But when I met with Kevin, we started to kind of share our stories, and I told him that I had quite a story to share myself, and something that in the past I wasn't too proud of, and that is the fact that I was a grudge holder. If you didn't catch my name, it's Mike Hatfield. If you're old enough to remember the Hatfields and McCoys, hey, we shot each other over pigs, and I think probably women as well back in the day. So we had some problems with anger and holding grudges and those kind of things. Well, that was my real struggle pretty much my entire life. It became very natural and easy for me to hold a grudge, and if somebody perceivably wronged me, I would never forget it. And I don't know that I necessarily had a handwritten list, but I had this incredible ability to remember how everybody had wronged me in the past. So a couple of years ago, after COVID, we decided to go back and start attending a church in Garland. And when I walked in for the first time, my wife had been going a few weeks before I went back, just for scheduling reasons and things like that. But I walked in and I looked across the lobby and I saw an enemy of mine that I've had for over 30 years, Craig Griffith. Craig has given me full permission to speak his name, so he's totally good with me telling you this story. But when I saw Craig, instant rage formed in me, and I was really upset that my wife knew that Craig and Kim Griffith were attending our church. So that very first Sunday, I went down and sat by her and looked at her and said, "Craig Griffith," and she said, "Yeah, they've been nothing but nice. They've been asking about you." And I said, "Yeah, but you didn't tell me they were here. Otherwise, you knew I would never come in." She goes, "Well, so, leave it to a wife's instinct and intuition of doing the right thing," because that's exactly what she did, is not tell me. But about 3 weeks went by, and on a Friday night, for whatever reason, I didn't necessarily hear the voice, but I had an urging, I'll just say, to get my laptop out and look up Craig on Facebook and send him a private message and basically ask him to forgive me. And, when you carry something for 30 years and just decide on a Friday night that you're going to look up somebody and ask them to forgive you like this, I'll be really honest. The very first time I looked at the laptop and had the thought, I almost talked myself out of it. But I grabbed the laptop, opened it up, sent Craig Griffith a message, really asking for his forgiveness for the fact that I'd held a grudge against him for 30 years. And ironically, where I got so mad at Craig Griffith is also extremely embarrassing, because we were on a guy ski trip, and he reminded me in a very gracious response after my apology message that on the trip that I was so offended, he actually got a concussion on that trip. So he had a major head injury, which would explain a lot of the reason why he might have been difficult to deal with, maybe. I don't know. I'll just say it was very embarrassing for me to even go back and think, oh yeah, he had an actual legit reason to even maybe be outside of his normal thought range, or his actions were affected. So what Craig did, though, this was on a Friday night. On Saturday morning, Craig replied with this most gracious forgiveness acceptance email, and it was such a relief for me. That next Sunday, I walked up to him at church and gave him a hug, and that was 2 years ago. And let me just tell you what has happened as a result of that. For the last 2 years, every other Sunday night, I'm sitting next to Craig Griffith, helping lead a small group at his house, and Craig has become one of my closest church friends. And it's been a pretty amazing story, but what that did for me is, honestly, forgiveness or unforgiveness or holding grudges was my barrier in my access to the Holy Spirit. When that wall came down, everything changed in my life. People started asking me, like, what happened to you? What, you seem different. And it was because I finally felt my full connection with the Holy Spirit. And so I say all that to say this. I don't know if this is your struggle, if you've got some people in your life that you need to seek out and you need to ask forgiveness, or maybe you need to extend them some forgiveness. I can tell you firsthand from a 55-year-old guy who had a 30-year grudge that letting these things go and forgiving others is the way to go. It is one of the keys to your success and happiness and your relationship with God is to let it go, as the song says. So I encourage you today on this Friday to really reflect on your life and maybe start to consider, if you're like I was, who you need to seek out. And then, man, I would love for you to let me know what happens, how your life changes as a result of either seeking somebody out or how, whatever that looks like for you. I just want to remind you that, before you were ever born, God forgave you for every sin you would ever commit. So I think Jesus has been a very good example of how we should forgive others. So use his example, use my example. Don't be like Mike. Forgive others and make that happen starting today. Love you guys. Keep moving mountains. Talk to you soon.